Hey, welcome to another episode of the Veronica Harris Show. I don't have my co-host, Big Little Brother. However, I will attempt to hold it down today as we talk to two very great individuals of the Washington, D.C. community who will tell us the importance about serving the community and talk to us about the two programs that they are personally involved with that help our youth in Washington, D.C. So stay tuned to the Veronica Harris Show. So, there's times in our life when we are sitting around pondering about what are we, what's the meaning of life? What is our purpose? Why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing? And it kind of drives us crazy. I know it drives me crazy from time to time. However, today I will be talking to two people who have found their purpose. They know why they're here, and they're here to serve and help the youth of the Washington, D.C. community. So if you will help me, please welcome Mr. Anthony Wilson and Miss Violet Davis.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Now, begin with you, Mr. Wilson. You are the founder of the Fresh program, and you are also the founder of the Great Injustice Paralegal and Consultant Services. You found your calling as far as wanting to inspire and reach out to the youth in a positive way here by what? Like, what led you here?
Well, everybody has some story, and some people, like Ms. Davis was saying earlier, that they don't know how to really step outside their box and then go into their calling to help others. So I had a situation that occurred with me about 30 years ago with Prince George's County, where I was wrongly convicted for something I didn't do.
Wow.
So I ended up returning back to society and went to law school. So I went to Howard, obtained a certification as a paralegal. And so I just started working against the system that had wronged me to help those individuals to come back out. And so that's why I started the Great Injustice Paralegal and Consultant Services, because I felt a great injustice had occurred to me due to my situation. But when I came back, when I returned back to the community, I was seeing these young men and young women on corners, at gas stations asking for money. And so I was like, what's going on here? This wasn't here before I, had went through my situation. And so, I always have my communication with the Father, and he gave me a spiritual calling called Fresh, fully restoring every son's hope. And we come from Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your minds. And so that's what we try to do at Fresh, is to change the way that our young men and young women are thinking in order for them to be successful.
Okay, very good. And Ms. Davis, welcome, such a pretty smile. All right.
You.
So yourself, your story, because he said everyone has a story, is you're a single mother. Well, no, you're not. You're just newly married, right? Yes, I saw that ring. I saw that ring sparkling. But you already have two daughters. And what are their names again?
Zariana and Elena.
And they are how old then?
15 and 10.
Ooh, that age.
Girl, I know.
I mean, I don't have any kids, but I teach high school, and I do.
Yes.
But what brought you to Mr. Wilson, or how did your story, come about?
Well, what brought me to Mr. Wilson is I'm in ministry school, and so we were required to serve. And so through an associate of mine, she introduced me to Mr. Wilson, and so I contacted him, and he didn't get back with me right away, and I understand why now that I work with him. His schedule is like busy, but we eventually linked up, and I asked him, would he mind me serving for him at his different events and things of that nature, and he was like, yeah. And so that's how we ended up linking up. We have a lot of similarities as far as our story is concerned. I too was in prison, not wrongfully convicted. I was definitely, guilty as charged for my charges. But a lot of my crimes stem from me not having my mind renewed and not having the proper mentors in place or the right examples in place growing up to lead me to do what I had done.
Okay. All right. So basically, just to kind of backtrack a little bit. So both of you were incarcerated at some point. You said you were wrongly convicted, and you said, no, I did it. So I'm going to do the time. However, throughout your trials and tribulations, you found a closer relationship with God.
Definitely.
And through Him, you have been able to create this Fresh program, as well as your other legal services company. And basically, you're out there helping the community, especially the young people.
Yes. So when I had started consultant services, I was finding that the individuals that I, along with lawyers and other associates, was helping these individuals come home, they had nothing to come home to.
Right.
So their transition was like, it's nothing out here for me. I can't get a job because of my record. My family has abandoned me. Friends that I used to have are no longer here. So Fresh was also a component of that. So we also deal with the reentry community. So we help them find jobs. We give them clothing. We give them information on how to get their driver's license and things of that nature. And so a lot of the returning citizens don't know, but the law has passed that now they can even vote. So.
Yeah, that's recent. Yeah. But you're right, that's so important. Like, the prison system was set up, believe it or not, to help rehabilitate and, help you rehabilitate and go back into society. But really, society has no infrastructure in place to help that person. They just send you out with a couple of bucks and say, all right, don't come back.
Definitely.
But in reality, the system is kind of set up so that you kind of do come back.
Definitely.
Yes, yes.
You kind of do come back. And it's funny, even not funny, but kind of ironic about the prison system, because if anybody know the history of prison systems or prisons in general, they were started by religious groups.
Yep.
The Quakers, I know, even started one. And so it was through even with the solitary confinement, it was through prayer and reflection that you were supposed to repent and be transformed. But that's far from where a lot of people are transformed when they leave.
True.
Some maybe, but some not, unfortunately. Recidivism rate is high. It is high. So in the Fresh program, what are the age groups of the people?
The age groups is 5 to 17 for the young men and young women, and then we have 18 on up for those who are returning home from a term of incarceration. But we don't turn anybody away. Right. If they want help, Fresh is here to help them.
Yes.
Okay. And in different communities, I guess you say have different problems or different situations, and sometimes it's even regional. Like, certain things certain situations may be specific to that region. What do you see are one of the most trying issues here in Washington, D.C.?
Yep. So we just started a campaign called Pull Up Your Pants.
Pull up your pants.
I cannot stand it. I don't even want to talk about it because it disgusts me just to see these guys with their pants hanging down, and they, so Miss Davis was with us last year where we did, Bowie State had sponsored us. And she was with us last year, and we did our first campaign start where we gave the young men belts.
Oh, yes.
But we also learned that you have to educate them why their pants should be pulled up, because a lot of them don't know the history.
But isn't it just common sense? Like, I'm sure when they were growing up and whomever was dressing them, they pulled their pants up, fastened them, gave them a little belt. Like, they had to have it.
It's a trend.
It's a trend.
But why did they go from, it's like,
everybody,
didn't anybody teach you how to dress when you're growing up? Like,
you want to be with the in crowd. You want to do what's in. So a lot of these young men and even young ladies now, they want to be like the next person. And so what we teach them is that you have to set yourself apart from the masses. You have to be the trendsetter, and you have to be the leader. And so that's what we teach them.
All right. Well, we're actually up against the break, and so you were going to tell us about, the history behind why, I guess, of not wearing the belt or keeping
I got a video.
Oh, you got a video? Oh, no, okay. Well, we are going to stop right here, and when we come back, we're going to hear more about why young men don't pull up their pants and one man's quest to make sure that no pants are down anymore.
Some of y'all think it's gangster to show you back. On behalf of real men, we ain't feeling that. We don't understand, man, cause the shocks up. Can you make us understand why you show your box up? But if you stand up straight, bet your pants fall. Might as well walk around with your pants off. Pull them up, yeah. Be a real man. Stand up. Is that your underworld, man? Pull your pants up.
courageous.
I am stylish.
I am conscious.
I am a trailblazer.
I am the greatest. I'm dedicated.
I am dominant.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Dear me, you're older and wiser, but I want to remind you that I'm making smart choices right now. With the help of caring people who intervened early on, I am avoiding some really dangerous pitfalls. So, I'm able to make healthy decisions when I'm offered pot and pills. The support I'm getting now is the big reason you're living a long and healthy life. So thank you to all the people who are there when I need it the most. Sign, your younger self.
Get involved in National Prevention Week by sharing your own letter to your future self and inspire others to take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
Hi, and we're back with Mr. Anthony Wilson and Ms. Violet Davis, and we're going to continue our conversation about belts and why guys don't pull up their pants. So there's a whole history about it, and actually your organization, they have produced a video that you show to different organizations, or you show to young men in general, so they can be educated.
Yeah, so what we do is we show the video and then we educate them on the history from the beginning of slavery, and that's where it started at. And so it was called bucking. And so what slave owners would do would make the black male pull his pants down to degrade him in front of all of the other slaves, to show that it was a submissive form of being obedient to your slave owner. But a lot of these young men don't know that.
Because I thought, I did not know, and I consider myself a person that, you know, kind of likes the history and knows a little something about history, but I just thought it would stem from prison. Okay, well, go ahead, you go ahead.
And that's the other one. So we start with slavery because that was the beginning of it. Yeah. But what happened was, when you go in prison, a lot of young men don't know that was a form of allowing men who were on a homosexual nature to let them know, I'm available for you. All you have to do is choose me. But these young men don't know that. So when we inform them of that and they see certain aspects of it through the video, then their minds are changed. So.
Well, I mean, you would think that once they do that, but I've been in situations, because I knew about the whole prison thing, and I would tell some of my students, like, look, you need to pull your pants up. Do you really know why? And I would sort of give it to them, but that didn't seem to matter to them, the fact about the whole prison thing. I was like, why would you even want to be associated with something that had to do with, you know, prison, which in my mind is a negative thing. But the whole slavery thing, I had heard of the term bucking, but I'd heard some other things were involved with that, but I didn't know that was preferably it. But again, my thing is like, didn't he teach you how to dress when you, that's one of the things you learn, tie your shoes, get dressed, you know, show your independence. But, okay, so you said you're about to start, you want to have like a worldwide campaign as far as this. You want to really spread this out.
Yes, and so that's what we're doing now. So we've been getting belts donated to us, and so this year we are doing an event called Fresh Start, Fresh Thinking. So the curriculum is going to deal with roadblocks and closures, meaning the way you present yourself in your community could be a negative stigma against you when people see you. So if you present yourself appropriately in your dress attire, adults are more to give you that respect.
Now I want to ask you a little bit about that, because that's very interesting, because in our community, African American community, but other communities of color, how we dress, you know, we think it may be perfectly fine, or there may be some cultural significance to it, but because they, when I mean they, I mean the what would we call
like corporate America?
Well, not just corporate America, but in education we talk about, we call it the you know, white male dominated society. In education, that's what we refer to, and basically that's Western Europe. Caucasian men, they have sort of like shaped the curriculum as far as education is concerned and how society is. So they may not see our particular way of dress or of expression to be appropriate. So how do we, or how would you, you know, deal with a young person who says, look, this is of cultural significance to me, and I want to express myself, and I don't care what they think about, because it's their perception of how they see us. You know, that's not our problem. They can't see us for, you know, the brilliant people that we are.
I would think just explain to them the significance as to why. Like, I'm not saying that you have to just you have to do it with your culture, but it's a time and a place for everything. Okay. So when you want to dress like that, maybe it's when you go hang out with your family, or when you go hang out, you know, with your friends. But when you're going into the workforce, or when you're looking for something to elevate you to another level, you don't want to dress like that. You want to dress fitting for the job, you know. And so when they have those examples, a man, you know, a real life example, then they have something to go back off of. The generation today don't want to keep hearing what they got to do, what I got to do, and then they look at you and you're not doing the same thing. They want an example. If I'm telling you to do something, it's because I'm doing that, you know. And you don't always have to be bougie or like, you know, different when you dress more dominating to that, you know, the corporate world. But like I said, it's a time and a place for everything.
Well, let's think about hair. You know, hair is a significant part of pretty much everybody's look. And they just now passed a law. The Supreme Court was saying that, you know, to have rules that said that you could not wear dreadlocks was not considered discrimination. There's been cases in the school systems where young girls have been told they can't wear braids. You know, but again, that's their perception of what our hair should look like. Braids, dreadlocks and things, that's very much a part of us, and it can be nice and neat, and many people do wear it in nice and neat and very elaborate styles, but because they don't like it, it's like, oh, well, that I got to change so I can fit in over there, or so I can be successful and move up the corporate ladder over there. Like, why should we then have to change? You know, that's just something that I figure somebody might ask you, a kid, like, well, why I got to change this to go to the corporate ladder?
I would say pave a path where no path been paved. Okay. You know, and so don't conform to somebody else's image of you. You seek God, you seek wisdom on how to deal with that situation, and God is going to open up a door, because it's not the person elevating you, it's God that's elevating you. And so I would say take a stance on what you believe and what you're comfortable with. Take a stand on that. You don't have to conform. You don't. And a lot of people conform to the image of themselves, of somebody else's perception, but you don't have to. That's a choice. So I'm going to still look the way that I want to look, what makes me feel comfortable, and I'll still get what God has for me, because what's for me is for me.
That's true. Because I do think that is so true, but I also think, and it's something that I teach my students, most things in life, you know, when we talk about money, hair, cars, whatever, it just is. But whether it's good or bad is our perception of it, and whatever experiences or values that we put on that. So it's very important to make sure before you say something is inappropriate or something is wrong or this, that, and the other, understand it's coming from your lens. And like we talk about social media, like Twitter, oh, Twitter is bad. So, no, Twitter is Twitter.
Right.
But it's how you interact with Twitter, how you perceive Twitter, and the choices you make about Twitter that will lead to whether it's good or bad for you.
I agree.
So, I mean, that's just something that I think about. But since you are teaching them about mindset and sometimes how to change that mindset, then you are actually changing their perception.
Yeah, I'll go back to what you were saying about what a certain group feels like we should be. So it's a status quo.
Right.
So I play basketball with young men. So it was just one young man that he came out to the basketball court one day and got a job, and he had his pants and he had his shirt tucked in. He said, Mr. Tony, I got the job and I had my pants up and all that. And that made me proud of this young man. And so I asked him to come out and speak to the young men about what success and what he achieved by just being presented properly, you know, in the community. So.
But I think no matter what your ethnic or cultural background, pulling your pants up is like a universal thing. You know, universal. We can all agree that pulling your pants up, wearing the belt is, you know, being nicely groomed or whatever. However, that you express yourself in a way is pretty universal. I think nobody wants to go with, you know, showing your underwear to work. But anyway,
make it presentable. Like make it fun. Make it presentable. Make it appealing. You know.
Yes. Make it appealing. And again, sometimes you're right. You have to go in a direction. You know, pave a path where there is no path, because maybe they just haven't been. I don't know, but anyway, it's time for us to go to a break. And when we come back, you know, we're going to talk some more with Miss Violet Davis and Mr. Anthony Wilson. And Miss Violet, you are actually, you know, the success of this program.
I am.
Yeah, you are, you know, because you went through the whole thing, came out of prison. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And I will try to remember what it is I was going to say. And stay right here for aboard the Veronica Harris Show.
Mom and Dad, there's a way to let your kids have fun.
And learn a skill that could save their life.
Swim lessons, woo!
This is how we got started.
That's right. My parents wanted me to feel safer around the water.
Oh!
These big kids know.
Swimming is fun.
But safety, that's serious.
Studies show that formal swim lessons reduce the risk of childhood drowning by 88%.
And it's so easy to enroll. We have nearly 1,000 local partners and communities like yours who can't wait to help.
Join us today. Go to
USASwimmingFoundation.org
and click on the Find Swim Lessons link. It can open up amazing possibilities.
I learned how to swim.
Well done. Well done. The USA Swimming Foundation, saving lives and building champions.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids, because when you talk, they hear you.
And we're back, and I still don't remember what I was going to say, but we shall move on. So, in our last couple minutes here, I just want to make sure that our community knows, first of all, if they need to find out more information about the FRESH program or the Great Injustice Paralegal and Consultant Services, is there a website that they can go to find out more information? Yeah,
on FRESH, you can go to Fully Restoring Every Son's, SONS, Hope.org. You can go on to Facebook and just log in FRESH program. The Great Injustice Paralegal Consultant Services, you can go on to Facebook and pull that up, or you can just Google thegreatinjustice.com and it'll show you our website, the services that we provide. And so our program is limited when it comes to grants and funding. So I became an author. Yes, I see here in your book you're an author, and it's called Learning to Use Your I over E. So I'm saying like I over E, so we're talking about the ego? We say E? Your emotions. Learning to use your intellect, your spiritual man over your E, your emotions, your flesh, when you're making decisions regarding relationships. All right, and that book is important because the proceeds from that help fund the FRESH program. Nonprofit. Yes, the nonprofit that we have. Awesome, awesome. So you can learn about how to be better in your relationships as well as help out a wonderful program. So any last words, any last things that we want to
you know, make sure we get out to our viewers out there?
I'll leave it to Miss Davis.
I'm just going to say, you know, it would be so important for more male figures to come out and just join this movement. We need more male figures. We need more examples. We need a greater attraction for the youth to come out and know that they're safe and it's fun and it's educational, as well as just knowing that they're not alone, that they have support, you know. So we just want more guys to come out and just support the movement.
Well, since you said that, my co-host, Big Little Brother, is not here, but I guess I shall direct him to you because he loves to mentor and help the youth and stuff.
So one of the things that we're doing is we are taking a busload of youth to learn about the legislative process in Annapolis. So they'll be able to talk to delegates and senators to see how bills are drafted and how they're presented to the House and to the Senate and how they pass and how it affects their lives and how their votes, as they get older and become voters, how it impacts their lives in the community.
Yes, because a lot of people don't understand how, you know, we usually think about elections, that's when, you know, the big one, when the president is elected. But really, you know, all politics is local.
Yeah.
So it's really those local politics, those local elections that really matter, because those are things that are going to directly impact you in terms of services within the community, you know, education within the community, you know, policing within the community, like all of that has to be.
And they don't know that, local. And they don't know that their voice matters. You know, they don't believe that, but it does.
It does. All right, and so you have given us a great line to leave out on, because your voice matters. Yes, and here on the Veronica Harris Show, everybody's voice matters. So thank you for watching, and make sure you continue to tune in and watch the Veronica Harris Show for more news you can use and educational things and a lot of laughs. See you next time.